Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales and her royal family. Today we bring you some significant news. Camilla at shock after Princess Catherine's stun palace by transferring historic title to Princess Eugenie. According to an insider source, Princess Catherine stuns palace by bestowing historic title on Princess Eugenie, bypassing direct heirs. This action surprised Camilla. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has taken the extraordinary choice to give Princess Eugenie a historically important royal title. This has sent shockwaves through the very foundations of the British monarchy. The shift, done with incredible accuracy and secrecy, skips over the straight line of succession and centuries of convention. This has caused a constitutional and family crisis that palace insiders are calling the worst internal threat to the crown in a generation. The news didn't come from an official palace release. Instead, it spread like wildfire through the echoing hallways of Windsor Castle and Buckingham Palace. Senior courtiers, both men and women who have spent their careers preserving the monarchy's carefully crafted image, were left scrambling when bits of the narrative came out. People swiftly went from disbelief to shock when they saw the full extent of the princess's deeds. It was clear that Catherine had acted on her own. What she has done is nothing short of tremendous. Many people perceive this choice as a direct threat to the existing order in a house based on the immovable pillars of hierarchy, tradition, and lineage. People who are close to the king and queen consort have said that the deed was careless and even damaging. Others, especially younger palace staff and spectators, have discreetly lauded it as a moment of incredible bravery. But one word whispered from the private secretary's offices to the royal muse cuts through the confusion: unprecedented. A woman in Catherine's unique and powerful position as a potential queen consort has never done anything like this before. But here she was, going against the same framework that was meant to keep her in check and define her function. People are seeing it not only as an act of disobedience, but also as a subtle revolt that was buried under Catherine's serene demeanor but is now difficult to ignore. There have been emergency meetings in the palace's secret rooms. Advisors sit in tight circles looking for a script that isn't there. One source said that the talks are full of tension and deal with issues like treachery, loyalty, and the very stability of the monarchy itself. Everyone is looking at King Charles III, and his silence on the issue has been deafening. Everyone has been waiting for the Prince of Wales to say anything, but he hasn't. When these two important people stopped talking, distrust and conjecture grew. Did they admire how bold Catherine was, or were they just as surprised as everyone else? The answer to that question might very well decide what happens to the House of Windsor in the future. The title's importance. The crown. Within a crown. To comprehend the significance of Catherine's choice, it is essential to recognize that this was an extraordinary honor. The title she gave to Princess Eugenie is not just a ceremonial gift or an empty gesture. It is a sign of great historical power, a symbolic cloak that has changed the fate of the throne in times of crisis. The palace has not formally named the position, but those who know a lot about royal charters have said it is the royal steward of the realm. This old title, which is seldom given and has nearly legendary meaning, is not a peerage like a dukedom. Instead, it is a special position of trust. It has its origins in the chaotic Tudor era, when it was formed to protect the monarchy and make sure that faithful advice was always available in case the king or queen was ill or the direct line of succession was threatened. Dr. Alistair Finch, a royal historian and author of The Unseen Hand, Power and Influence in the Monarchy, said, "To hold the stewardship is to be recognized as more than a figurehead. It is to be designated a cornerstone of the crown's future. The steward is in a way a protector of the institution's integrity. They have a symbolic and, in certain historical readings, a real power on the council that would help a regent or a young king or queen. It's a crown within a crown. People have protected the stewardship as carefully as they do the crown jewels for hundreds of years. Traditionally, the heir apparent, or in rare cases, the monarch's most trusted and unimpeachable sibling, has held it. It has never been granted to someone who is not in the straight line of succession without a lot of opposition, and it has never been given to someone whose claim to the throne is as weak as Princess Eugenie's. That's why Catherine's choice has rattled the foundations so hard. By handing it to her cousin-in-law, she is not only changing the standards of royal honor, but she is also questioning the fundamental idea of royal authority. This was not just brave. Traditionalists thought it was dangerously provocative. Inside the royal walls, historians and constitutional academics are talking about its symbolic fire. One person called it a second line of defense for the crown, while another said it might be a double-edged sword. If honored, the title may bring the monarchy together behind a trusted leader. If there is a disagreement, it might break it beyond repair. Every king and queen has known this risk, which is why tradition has always been careful. But Catherine has gone where others wouldn't go because she has a steady hand and what seems to be an unbreakable will. She didn't just do it on a whim. It seems planned, almost like surgery. It's the type of choice that shows more of a long-term plan than a protest. It suggests a different idea of what the monarchy should be like than what King Charles and Queen Camilla have planned. Catherine has delivered a strong and unambiguous message by skipping over her own children who are too young and other senior royals. In her vision of the future, personal allegiance and demonstrated integrity are more important than heredity. It seems like trust is more important than tradition. This goes against the most important rule that has kept the monarchy going for 1,000 years, that only inheritance can give you authority. The meaning has hit every king and courtier hard. If this title may skip heirs and end up in the hands of someone unexpected, then no position is really protected. Things that used to be definite are no longer so. The unlikely steward. The rise of Princess Eugenie. Princess Eugenie is at the core of this storm. The palace has long misjudged her, and the public frequently ignores her. For years, her existence was not characterized by moments of victory, but by modest appearances that were eclipsed by relatives whose fates were set in stone. She was the Duke of York's daughter, and she grew up in the long shadow of duty, always being told that her function was to help others and that her importance was mostly symbolic. People knew her, but she wasn't very important. They remembered her for her unique scoliosis surgery scar, her job in the art world, and her close relationship with her sister, Princess Beatrice. Eugenie, on the other hand, had a hard time behind the royal doors. She wanted to find meaning in a household where being close to the king typically determines value. Catherine may have been the only one who sensed the power in Eugenie's calm determination. Catherine saw a lady of great devotion and judgment, while others saw a lesser royal. Eugenie stayed secret and loyal to the institution, even though there were tell-all interviews and family members using their connections. She never broke a promise, never tried to get attention at the cost of others, and never played the palace game of whispering and manipulating. A source close to the Princess of Wales said, "In a world of power-hungry courtiers and competing dynastic interests, Catherine saw a rare quality in her cousin-in-law honesty. It wasn't loud or demanding, but it was steady. Catherine thinks that in this day and age, consistency is worth its weight in gold." This realization made Eugenie stand out, particularly when you think about what some sources say are Catherine's deep-seated concerns about Queen Camilla's family's goals. The Princess of Wales is believed to be very protective of the Windsor line and is thought to be cautious of any efforts to mix non-royal lineages too closely with the monarchy's destiny. The insider went on, trusting Eugenie was a brilliant move. It wasn't simply a personal decision, it was a safety measure. It was a barrier to keep the monarchy from being controlled by those whose devotion would be seen as based on their own interests. But even as Catherine acted, Eugenie was said to be unprepared. The news of her promotion hit her like a bolt of lightning. She had never wanted power or titles other than the one she was given at birth. Friends said that it was too much for her to suddenly be in the middle of a historic royal crisis. She felt both disbelief and a strong feeling of obligation, and below it all, a little bit of affirmation she had been missing for a long time. For once, she wasn't an afterthought. She was picked this time, but now she has to wear the weight of that decision in front of the whole world. A palace divided. The fight with Camilla. Queen Camilla was the most affected by Catherine's choice. For her, this wasn't just a simple violation of the rules. It was seen as a direct and very personal assault on her power and her family's place in the royal ecology. For years, Camilla has been cautious about how she acts, making sure that her children and grandkids who are not of royal blood are gently welcomed into the royal family. As part of a strategy to make their presence more natural, they have made subtle introductions, at important events appeared on the Buckingham Palace balcony at critical times, and generally raised their public profile. Catherine seems to have sliced through their plans like a knife with one brave choice. By making Eugenie a blood princess more important, she has tacitly shown that the Windsor line is the most important, which makes Camilla seem bad. The effects were rapid and severe. Two different palace sources say that the queen consort was furious when she heard the news. People have called the fight between Camilla and Catherine at Clarence House cold and cutting. One source said, Camilla accused Catherine of purposely undermining the king and staging a planned humiliation to make her look less important next to him. She thought it was a very high-level power play. Catherine, who was said to be calm yet stubborn, would not back down. She didn't say she was sorry or change her mind, which made it evident that she had made her choice on purpose and thought it was vital for the monarchy's long-term health. The fight between the two most powerful ladies in the royal family shook the palace walls. Almost at once, rumors about the fight spread, leading to headlines that spoke of a war of the queens. Camilla has resorted to her friends for help because she is angry at what she described as a staggering betrayal. The old guard of the nobility, reliable voices among senior courtiers and members of the extended royal circle, have started to support her. They say that Eugenie's new job can't be officially acknowledged, that Catherine went much beyond her power, and that the king has to step in before this act of disobedience turns into a full-blown constitutional crisis. But Catherine's silence in public since then has been more effective than her words. By not explaining why she did what she did, she has made the palace and the public even more divided. Is her disobedience a sign that she is a careless princess who has gone too far? Or is it the brave decision of a future queen who knows what is at stake better than anyone else? The lines of war have been drawn. Camilla is on one side battling to safeguard her family's goals and her own power. Catherine, on the other hand, stands with a calm determination that hides the fire of a woman who won't give in to palace pressure. The king's painful choice. King Charles III is stuck in the middle. Catherine's choice puts him in a terrible situation where he has to choose between his wife's anger and the deeds of his adored daughter-in-law, who is meant to carry on the heritage of his first wife, Diana. The king had always thought that his reign would be a time of peace and healing for the problems that had been tearing his family apart for years. Instead, he is now in charge of a new and perhaps more hazardous split. People say that behind closed doors he is really angry. Part of him is said to be quite angry at Catherine for ruining the meticulously planned order of royal life. And yet another part of him, less loud but no less real, supposedly admires how brave she is. A longtime friend of the king said, "He sees Diana in her, not in the dramatization but in the cold, hard nerve." Catherine has shown the same lack of fear and the same refusal to let the men in gray suits control her. This makes him both impressed and scared. He understands what Diana's rebellion did to the monarchy and to him personally. From all sides, the king is under a lot of pressure. His more orthodox advisors are urging him to move quickly to take away Eugenie's title before the decision is made official and to publicly scold the Princess of Wales for going too far. They say that not doing anything would be seen as a sign of weakness, which might lead to further problems with his authority in the future. On the other hand, a more contemporary group of his advisors says that Catherine's actions, although surprising, can't be undone without causing a far bigger controversy. If she changed her mind, she would have to confess in public that the monarchy is broken at its heart, with the king and the future king and queen at odds. It would be a catastrophe for the institution's public image, and it may never be able to recover. The king's health problems, which are well known, make the dispute even worse. People who are close to him can see how this issue is affecting him. He feels a lot of pressure to make sure that the monarchy's image stays good for the next generation and that the transition goes smoothly. His continuing quiet is both a strategy and a risk. For others, it means that Charles is quietly approving of Catherine's plans to change the monarchy from the inside out. For others, it is proof that the monarch can't control his own family. His rule, which is still very new, has reached a breaking point. He could support his wife and risk losing the crown, or he could stand behind Catherine and risk ruining his marriage and his court. Every road requires a sacrifice, and for now the king is stuck because of the decision. The heir's burden. Prince William's quiet stand. Prince William is still in the heart of the maelstrom, and it's painful to see him there. People say that the future king was completely shocked by his wife's choice. He was utterly taken off guard, since he had been taught that nothing in the monarchy happened without deliberate planned preparation. His devotion is being pushed in two very bad ways. He is obligated to support his father's rule as a son. His father is the king. He realizes that Catherine's decision has put his father in a very bad position. But as a spouse and partner, he will always be faithful to Catherine. He knows why she did what she did, even if he didn't agree with how she did it. He understands that she didn't do it to make him seem bad, but to preserve their future together, and the institution they would one day head. Aides have said that late-night talks at Adelaide Cottage were tense but unified. Catherine has allegedly justified her choice not with arrogance, but with a calm confidence that the monarchy cannot survive by holding on to an antiquated system. She has said that at a time when everyone is watching, showing that you are honest, as Eugenie does, is worth more than just being born into a royal family. William is stuck in a bind between his deep-seated sense of tradition and his respect for his wife's wisdom. If he publicly backed Catherine, it would be perceived as a direct threat to his father's power. To resist her would be to betray the woman who is his most important partner and advisor. So, like his father, he has opted to be quiet. But his quiet is not the same. It isn't paralysis, it's protection. He has protected his wife by neither condemning nor condoning anything. Instead, he has taken the political shockwaves himself. People now think that his silence means he agrees with them, which shows that the Prince and Princess of Wales are on the same page. This view has only made the traditionalists angrier and made the rift in the family even worse. His mother Diana casts a long shadow over him. Catherine is now doing the same thing that she did to the palace. William knows the echoes even if he doesn't want to. Her bravery and readiness to sacrifice everything for what she thinks is right are both terrifyingly familiar and a source of inner pride. The monarchy is waiting for him to speak, but his silence speaks volumes. It tells the narrative of a future king who may have already picked his queen. A nation divided effects on the public and politics. The choice that started as a little problem in the palace has turned into a national controversy. People in Fleet Street bars, the halls of Parliament, and on the never-ending scroll of social media all ask the same thing. Did Catherine just rescue the monarchy or burn it on fire? The tabloids jumped on the story with titles like Catherine's Coup and The Princess Rebel, while the broadsheets took a more serious look at what it meant for the Constitution. There is a lot of disagreement among commentators. Some people call Catherine a visionary who wants to modernize the monarchy and sees herself as the people's princess reborn. Some others say she is very arrogant and is destroying the very organization she is supposed to head. The difference is just as clear among the British people. Most young people have supported the Princess of Wales, viewing her as a revolutionary blow against a system that is old and based on family ties. For days, our Team Catherine was trending with many applauding her for valuing devotion above bloodline. But for traditionalists and older Britons, her choice is an awful violation of duty. They think it's an attack on the hallowed notion of bloodline that is at the heart of the whole monarchy. Letters to the editor have flooded major publications calling for the king to bring back order. Outside Buckingham Palace, the gap has become a real show. Some protesters are holding signs that say, "Catherine, our future queen," and others are waving banners that say, "God save the king and tradition." The palace gates have become a battleground for different beliefs, just like the divide that is growing across the country. Catherine's image has changed overnight all over the world. She is no longer just the elegant and faithful wife. She is now a worldwide symbol of rebellion, a woman of power who is prepared to risk everything for what she believes in. You can't dispute that she has grabbed history by the neck whether you love her or hate her. As the dust settles, there is one thing that is clear. The royal map has been changed by the Princess of Wales. Her disobedience will be remembered for years as the moment the monarchy went off track. Some will call it treachery, while others will call it daring. No one can dispute that it had an effect. The House of Windsor has been brutally thrown into a new and unknown time by the will of one lady who would not be quiet. The world is now watching and waiting to see whether the crown can withstand the aftershocks. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for now.